Hey, what is up, everybody? My name is Zelkenon, and this is another Smite super build. As requested for Shock, went ahead and worked a little bit and found some stuff that worked out together on my match history I looked for Shock. Sadly, they wiped all the match history, at least in game. From like last year and the year before that. So only the match history for this year is up on there, and luckily I still have a few left on there. So check those out, and it was a combination of this, and I brought us some new stuff. Right away, this is more of a for damage build. I will go into a more hybrid build, and I'll go into a defense build, kind of covering everything. So to start off, this is if you are in, let's say, Conquest solo lane. So if you're in Conquest solo lane, I would go ahead and get Hand of Gods 1 as the active. And the second active is up to you, but I want to get that, so I would go for Hand of Gods 1 and go ahead and start working on Mystical Mark. Like I've said previously in other videos, if you're in the solo lane in Conquest and you're fighting another physical character, I would highly recommend Mystical Mark due to its high health and high physical protection, and especially the aura itself. This allows you to clear minions a lot faster in your lane to help push the lane, and also since you're melee fighting another melee, it's face-to-face combat obviously, and the aura on this Mystical Mark helps you get more damage output onto your target. This is a little pricey, but is way worth it when it is finished. If you prefer not to get Mystical Mark, I would go ahead and get Ankh of Golem or Ankh of Bear, depending on if you're building more HP or if you're building more physical protection. If you're building more physical protection, get the Ankh of Bear first. If you're building more HP later on, go ahead and get the Ankh of Golem. So that is up to you. And like I said, that would replace the Mystical Mark as your first item in Conquest in the solo lane. So after you get Mystical Mark, this is still in the Conquest solo lane idea. I would go ahead and pick Warrior Tebe for the penetration and whatever, it's boots, you need it. And I want to go ahead and go with Ankh of Golem. The kind of complement the Mystical Mark, since it gives you plus 300 HP, and this gives you 550 HP and low protection, and the passive converts your HP into physical power. As you see, we have, if you look at the very bottom at level 20, we have 3,030 HP, so that converts to a good amount of power. Next, Jones Wrath. This works really well with him. For one, it's cheap, and also, the power of the penetration, but the cooldown reduction is really nice, because his cooldowns on his attacks, abilities, are generally sort of high, so it's really good to lower that down. So when you lower that down by 25%, that allows you to get off more threes for healing, and more of everything, honestly, especially the ones for really great poke damage overall, since now the 25% reduction, we have our one at 7.5 seconds on the cooldown on the one, so more pokes, and we love pokes. So after that, we have Rage. The Rage and Deathbringer combo is really deadly, since he works really well with attack speed due to his passive. As you see, we already have it filled, so each basic attack that lands, it fills up one orb thing. So pretty much 5 basic attacks that land, your next ability costs no mana whatsoever. So that's why attack speed works pretty well with Shock. So we have 1.5 attack speed due to the Rage. So it increases by 15%. We have a crit and power, and a great passive, and it works well with Deathbringer. This allows for a lot harder hitting basic attacks. Just keep in mind, crits and crit hit rate don't affect your abilities at all. Your abilities rely purely on the damage that is already set on it, and as you see, it goes by your power, so sheer power. If you rely heavily on your abilities, then crit is not really for you. It's more, crits for basic attacking, and power is just sheer for abilities. So if you want to go for all abilities, I would get maybe one more cooldown reduction item. If not, probably get like Warrior Tebe and Jones Wrath, and then just go with sheer power. So if for abilities, whatever. So this is more of, can that leave? Okay, there we go. So like I said, and then after, when you get further in game, I'd go ahead and get Fist of Gods. This allows you to stun them, so you can catch up to them, hopefully, between sprint. Like if you get sprint, yeah, you can use to catch up to them and apply your 3 to slow them down, and then you can just fist the gods and they're stunned for a second. So that allows you to get a lot of damage output onto them, and catch up to them, slow them down. So this is the more damage-oriented build. If you're an assault and you have shock, I would rush Mystical Mark right away, since you already have enough gold to buy it, just the full thing. And this works well for most assassins and pretty much all warriors and all tanks. Of course, if you're fighting more magical characters, I would not get Mystical Mark. Instead, I would go ahead and buy a shield. And this also applies to when you're in the Conquest solo lane. If you're, shock, of course, and you're fighting a magical character, instead of buying, Ankh and Mystical Mark or whatever, I'll go ahead and rush shield first. Reason being, for the high magical protection, it's cheaper than Mystical Mark, so that's really nice. So yeah, magical protection, you get the power and HP 5 that helps you with the sustain. Also, it stacks pretty well with your 3, so you have a lot of HP regen, so you can stay in your lane a lot longer. So depends if you want to get Shield of Regrowth or Runic Shield. I'll go ahead and get Runic Shield, because a lot of people, when you fight them, they like to chain up their abilities. So this says, when hit by an ability, your magical protection is increased by 30 for 5 seconds. It occurs only once every 20 seconds. So after they hit you with like one ability, the next ability will hit you much less, since you have increased magical protection. So yeah, if you're fighting more magical people, apply that to your build wherever you see fit. So let's go ahead and go to more of a hybrid build. Let's kind of erase this here and let's go ahead and buy shield. And we could use power and penetration, so Titan's Bane. Go to Titan's Bane. As see, the damage is much lower, but we're able to increase our magic protection by quite a bit just with shield. So to help our low power out, we have higher penetration. For some reason, the 33% physical penetration, it doesn't apply. It doesn't show it on here, but it's definitely there. So we have 26 plus an additional 33% to that. So that helps our overall power. So that is that. If I'm gonna go more tanky build, like just sheer tanking, I'll probably, instead of this, I'll go ahead with another magical. Probably get like Bork of Hope. Now with Bork of Hope, we have a lot higher magical defense, pretty close to our physical defense, and because of our Ankh of Golem, we have the increased HP transfer into physical power. Since Bork of Hope gives a lot of HP, Ankh of Golem, there we go. So that's a more tanky build for shock, and so that's pretty much the hybrid, the tanky and the damage oriented. If you don't want let's say you don't want Ankh of Golem or whatever, or if you don't want Mystical Mark or whatever, so this is an alternative. If you don't want one of those other items, I'd highly recommend Focus Void Blade. Of course, if you're fighting more physical oriented people, go ahead and buy this. Reason being, it is not too expensive. You got your power, protection, and a crazy amount of penetration. So our penetration is capped out due to the Jones Wrath, where it's had Bane, Focus Void Blade. So what that pretty much means is our basic attacks hit closer to true damage. So that's pretty much it for this shock super build. I think it's kind of a long video, but I hope this helps out, kind of giving pointers into different styles. Our damage build, our hybrid build, and our more tanky build. So it helps out the people that play shock, and kind of steers them to a good direction. So before I actually end it, I want to go ahead and go over the damage build real quickly and show off its power. So let's go ahead and get that Ankh back. Ankh of Health. Ankh of Golem, sorry. Ankh of Golem, not Ankh of Health. That's a crazy thing to say. So here we go. Alright, let's go get a red buff. So we have 170 power with this damage build. plan that. There we go. We have red buff, 210 as our power. Physical might potion, 234. With the elixir of power, 283. As that is quite the numbers with the damage build on Shock. I feel like with Shock you can get away with the more damage oriented build, mainly because he has pretty decent scaling on his HP, and also his 3 allows him for crisis sustain. As you can see, we're healing up quite a bit. He's just knocking me everywhere. There we go. Now with all 4 attack buffs, we have an amazing 356 power. So that will now indeed wrap it up for the Shock Super build. Hope you find this informative, and I'll see you guys later.